If you were in a room with everyone you ever met, who would be the one you'd look for? My husband. I would love to see him strong and healthy one last time, as opposed to the sick, atrophied man he was at the end. He was a runner, and he had the most beautiful strong legs. He was such a good dad. Whoever organized this event of thousands of people, most of which I don't remember. Good idea. Someone's answering some questions. Reminds me of this short YouTube link. Holy effing crap, what a video. That was one hell of a short. My best friend Gabrielle. She died from cancer when we were 12, it was so hard watching her go. I named my firstborn after her, and am best friends with her little sister now. I miss her. This reminded me of a little girl named Letitia when I was in kindergarten. I remember she had a heart problem and couldn't play on the play equipment with us, so she would walk laps around the playground instead. I remember I would walk with her often. She wasn't in my class, but I remember looking forward to seeing her at recess. I don't remember much from that time frame, but the only thing I do remember was coming home from a school concert and my mom told me that she had passed away and asked if I wanted to pick something out at the store to give to her family. I said sure. I was tired and ready for bed, but still not fully understanding the gravity of death or what that meant. I was 5 or 6, how could you? I remember my mom sent me inside their house alone. They were Hispanic, so they had a very large family. I'm guessing that she had just passed away because everyone was sobbing. Like, their living room was completely packed and everyone was full-chested, heartbroken, sobbing and consoling each other. There was one lady that was sobbing the hardest, so I just assumed that was the mom. I handed her the teddy bear and flower and quickly left. It stuck with me for a while. It was like the sad reality of life smacked my little 5-year brain. I had completely forgotten about that situation until I read your comment for some reason. I really wonder where her family is now. God, life is a trip. I have a 6-year-old son right now and I just couldn't imagine losing them so prematurely. F Cancer. Sending my love to you, your family, and hers, heart. I met a man on a plane once, sat next to me. He was about my dad's age and later I found I was about his daughter's age. We started chatting, and just a few days before I had just cut off contact with my veteran alcoholic father. He asked me about myself and I told him I worked in child welfare. He then told me he was a veteran addictions therapist. I don't even remember how we got on the topic, but by the end of the flight, he was telling me, tell your dad you love him. Tell him you want him to get sober for you, because you want to see him live a happy and full life. It was such a bizarre encounter with what was going on in my life at the time, and I'm not religious, but maybe divine intervention placed us in that place at that time? I'd look for him to tell him how much that conversation meant to me, that it was the most impactful meeting with a stranger I've ever had. Edit, update commented below. Wow, this really blew up overnight. Thanks for the awards and love, everyone. I really wish it had a happy ending. I did have this conversation with my dad, but unfortunately, it was not enough. He has since been in and out of jail, the hospital, court, etc. But this stranger's conversation was the first time anyone encouraged me to put my hurt aside and give it one last shot to communicate my love for my dad, and my want for him to have a good life for himself. Although it wasn't enough for him, it had a profound impact on me. I'm less angry with him and just sadder, but I feel a little more understood after meeting this man on the plane. If you are an addict or family member/loved one of an addict, I see you and I feel your pain with you. It's not easy. Don't give up. Did his advice help? Did you heed his advice? If so, how did it turn out? Hopefully well. I do not know if this would be the one person I would look for, but it would be someone to think about. There was this oldish homeless-ish man that would tap dance on a corner every day on my walk to school. He got some money from tourists. For a while, he had, written in glitter, background for movies available for hire, or something like that. I changed schools and haven't seen him forever. I wonder where he is now. There are also those friends, where you went to summer camp for a week and became the best friends, and never saw them again. I would like to see how they are doing. Lastly, I was ice skating in a resurfaced lake this winter. I met a few kids there and I was pretty good friends with them. It was time to go and I told them to meet me back there the next day. They said sure. It was bad weather the next day so I didn't go. I wonder where they are now. Edit, winter. I went ice skating this winter. I like this. I sometimes wonder about the people I've lost touch with, people that I met once but left an imprint on me, people I used to laugh and joke with in school. People I've had deep conversations randomly at a bar. What are they doing now? What have they experienced since we've last met? Rishim. I loved him for more than half my life. I just wish we'd made up before he passed. I just opened a beer, this one's for Rishim, may you rest in peace. I've opened one as well, another for Rishim RIP brother. For me it would be the guy who mooned me in downtown Denver one day. As I'm pulling up, a homeless-looking man in baggy jeans and a crooked smile points at me and grins. Before anything in my mind can register, he turns away from me, drops his jeans, and moons me. Underneath? Another pair of jeans, completely obfuscating his lunar entities. He lets out a laugh bathed in hysteria and casually walks away from me, walking towards the financial district, knowing his mark saw nothing but cotton I got use. Ah, a never nude. There are dozens of us. Dozens. I want to meet him too. I also choose this guy's homeless mooner. A classic. My childhood best friend. We were best friends from 4 to 17. He battled with leukemia from 13 to 17. The last year of his life, he was constantly in and out of the hospital and was immunocompromised. I got to see him but we had to keep our distance. We were planning on going to the same college for engineering. I know all he would want to know is if I did it and kept moving. I plan on naming my firstborn after him. 12 years later and I still think about him most days and he is my driving force to stay positive and keep on pushing. Edit. Thank you all for the kind words. Yes, I went to the school we were planning on. I got BS in mechanical engineering and am currently getting a master's in engineering management. His name was Brian so we named the child Brian or Brianna. Please do not purchase awards for me, donate that money or buy a beer. If it's not too impolite to ask, did you get your engineering degree from the university? He comments a bit on our /ask engineers so I'd assume so. Reddit link. How do I get a job in engineering without a degree? Original poster replies. Wow, this is powerful. I'm sorry if this sounds a bit strange but this made me feel really good, smiley face. You mean because people can be loved like this? What is grief, if not love persevering? I do not grieve, he softly said, it is not grief that waits ahead. It is not grief that hangs above. I do not grieve, he said, I love. My dad, I miss him. Same, I lost dad when I was 16. He had brain cancer. I'm 21 now, finally attending university to do a degree in computer science, which is what he did too, and I bet he never would have thought I would follow in his path. I'm in a loving relationship with someone who is so smart and interesting that I wish my dad, another loving and interesting human, could meet. So many memories and events I wish he could be there to see. I'm just thankful I had him for 16 years. My sister was 3 when he passed, she'll never get to experience what an amazing dad he was. I can't begin to fathom growing up without him. Lost mine when I was 7. I wish I could see him again. Edit. I'm glad everyone is sharing their stories. My father was a very good man and I'm thrilled that I was able to have a solid few years with him as a kid. I just wish he was able to see me now. Lost mine when I was 6. I don't really remember him. It's be really cool to get to know him as an adult. I've always wondered if anything about him would remind me of me. Lost mine today. Lost mine 11 years ago. Let me know if you need anything. I'm so sorry for your loss. Same. Just found out last week I'm going to be a father, and I keep breaking down thinking that I'm going to be to somebody what he was to me. My dad passed when I was 10. It wasn't really until I was already grown I realized what I missed growing up without a father. I'd give anything to sit down with him and have a conversation together as grown men. My dad is my answer too. He's been gone 16 years and I have a lot of stuff I want to talk to him about. Hugs to you. So when I was super young, me and my sister would play in the backyard. There was also another street that was beside us, and another family's backyard came up to our fence. There was this girl that would always come up to the fence and all three of us would play together. One day she and her family vanished and I never saw her again. Just to be clear, this is not a romantic thing. We were just really good friends. But I haven't seen her in so long I forgot everything about her. Name, voice, age, even her face. I literally made a comment super similar to this one. It'd be so cool to learn about this life of a childhood friend you don't clearly remember. All we associate it with is a happy time. There was also this old fella who picked me up when I fell on my skis in Colorado about 7 years ago. He was a kind sir, one who I bet would have very interesting stories to tell. I met a middle-aged woman outside a library when I was 13. We had the best conversation while waiting for the bus. She had cancer, never found out what happened, but it was one of the best conversations. I think people are magic. You just got to find the moment when brains and strangers collide to feel it. I've always wondered. It's been 17 years since then. Still a fond memory. I tell this story every chance I get. I was sobbing at a bus stop in NYC after a bad fight with my boyfriend. After a few minutes, a homeless man in the corner silently offered me the last of his vending machine bag of chocolate chip cookies. I'll never know his name and I couldn't describe his face, but that gesture is seared into my memory for life. It's funny how people who have nothing are usually the most generous and kind-hearted. I suppose being so vulnerable themselves, they fully understand how it feels and are able to truly be empathetic. Edit. Thanks for the award and upvotes, guys. I wonder if any of the random conversations I've had with people I've long forgotten stuck with them. I love talking to strangers at random times. I doubt it, but I like to think there's at least one person out there that still fondly remembers me as the kind stranger they know nothing about but stuck around in their memory for years and years. Even the people who are dead now? My grandpa. If not, my so. Same with my grandpa. He died on Sunday and I'd give anything to give him a hug now. I'm really sorry for your loss. I hope that times get better for you. My friend Matt, who died back in 2005. He was essentially the architect of my moral compass. That's odd. I lost my childhood best friend Matt under bizarre circumstances back in 2005. I miss him terribly. That's a really good way of phrasing that. Haley. I met her when I was 14 at this church thing. She had had a rough go at life, but was very kind to me. We spent most of it talking on a little boat on the lake, pond. I got her number so we could hang out. I called and her mom cussed me out. I tried to clear things up with her at church on Sunday, telling her that I wasn't the one turning her daughter to drugs. They weren't at church and I never saw her again. I miss you, Haley. You were very kind, and I wished we could have been better friends. Edit. I'm a woman. Our relationship was platonic, guys. How'd they even assume you were trying to get her into drugs? Y'all met at a effing church. Edit. Until churchgoers use church for hookups and drugs. Yippee. A lot of kids aren't at church because they choose to be there but because their parents make them. There were plenty of kids at my church who snuck off during services and youth group meetings to smoke and hook up. My prom date. I thought we were going as friends. I was too young and stupid to realize how much she liked me and put herself out there, just to have me not notice. Owe her an apology for that. I was that girl once. Finally, a mutual friend sat us both down and asked us why we weren't dating because we were both clearly into each other. We'd been on a few dates as friends. We looked at each other and shrugged and said, I guess we're together now. Several years later, she told everyone at our wedding that we wouldn't be there if it wasn't for her. We both joke about how many signals we were both putting out and missing entirely. That's kind of similar to how my wife and I met. We both worked at the same place and she was giving me small hints that I was oblivious to after a while of working with each other. We both are very shy and introverted people. I'm also pretty pessimistic, so there was that as well going on. However, there was another coworker that she was friends with that went straight up to me one day and asked me, "Do you think she's cute?" I said yeah, I did. Next thing I know, she goes straight to her and tells her, comes back to me, said she totally digs me, and would totally go on a date with me if I asked her out. The following day I asked her out, and years later, we are still a happy couple. God bless the extroverts. I had one adopt my introverted ass in high school. He was like, "That guy needs a friend." He's the reason I went to my first concert, and a mutual friend of some of my best friends. He was the glue that kept us together mostly. He pried me out of my shell enough that I could at least be conversational with my now wife, instead of being an aloof introvert like I was in high school. Yup. Introverts get found and adopted by extroverts. Source: Introvert. This comment. I wish I had a wholesome award to give. I gave one for you. Feel goods all around. I'm in this club as well. The thing is, I was crazy in love with her and didn't think she felt the same way because we had been friends for so long. Sorry, April. I was that girl once. I'm happily married to someone else, but I'd be lying if I don't think about what might have been if that dude hadn't picked up on some hints. My husband. Even though it's likely, he's already beside me. Then I'd finally get to introduce him to my grandfather. I think I would do the same. My husband and I met when we were still teens just before my grandfather passed. They have similar interests, and I can't help but feel like they could have been such good friends. I've always wished I could have introduced them to each other. Edit. This is the most upvotes I've ever had on anything. I know it isn't a big deal, but the last thing I was expecting was to wake up to so many notifications. My grandfather was a wonderful man and it feels like he has been honored in some way. I couldn't be more happy that this is my most popular comment. Thank you for the upvotes and virtual hugs. My mum. She died on the 2nd of this month. I'd give anything just to get a hug from her. As a teenager, I'm 73 now, I got a job at Los Angeles County General Hospital. I worked in medical records and had to hand deliver records to the various wards. I worked the night shift when most of the wards had the lights turned down low for the comfort of the patients. One night I'll never forget, while quietly walking through one of the cancer wards on the 11th floor, out of the darkness came a man's voice, "Mom, is that you?" I felt so sad. I just went on with my business, but his voice has stuck with me to this day. Literally crying right now. Not sure heart-wrenching is even enough. Wow. Thank you for sharing something so visceral and moving. Great reminder that everyone out there are actual people, heart. I just burst into tears and my fiancé is concerned. That's so heart-wrenching. Wow. 50+ years later. I hope he's with his mom now. I miss my mom too. It will be 4 years this spring. Just to hear her laugh, gasp when she hears a swear word, or to ask me to fix her computer. I am sending you a hug. I am also a mom, and tonight I will add you to thoughts as I bless my children before I fall asleep. I am not a religious person, but every night I ask that my children are happy, healthy, strong, and safe. Tonight, Vault Boy Noah, Mom somewhere is wishing you the very best, just as your mom always did. 18 years for me. Still miss her. 43 years, St. Patrick's Day 1977, same. Lost my grandmother 2 months ago. It's been crafty. If I could talk to her one more time, I wouldn't be saying anything she didn't already know, but I'd still say it. I guess I just wish I could have said goodbye. The only ones who got that chance were my grandfather and mother. Guess I'll hop in for the mental therapy of talking about this. I lost my mom June 20th of last year to pancreatic cancer. It all happened within like a month and I'm still so sad. It's almost more angering that there's nobody to blame, just bad luck, I guess. Ironically, June 20th is the longest day of the year, definitely true for me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.